Order the Bryant Planning Commission meeting of June the 10th, 2024. Have a roll call.
Stanton.
Here.
Wooten. Here. Enfield.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Burgess.
Present.
Edwards. Here. Irwin.
Here.
Speed.
Here. Okay, we have a quorum. I don't know of any announcements. You have any, Colton?
No, I don't have any at this time.
Other than we got a good group tonight. Stay around. The last item will be boring. It's our bylaws revision. So if you want to see have some fun, but anyway, we'll let Andrea read our DRC report.
You going 2 minutes?
Oh, I'm sorry. I went right over. You did get minutes, yeah, from the May 13th, 2024 meeting. Any discussion or
I
correction?
move that be accepted.
Second.
A motion second. All in favor signify aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, now read the DRC.
Okay. DRC report, A1 Fireworks at 256112 I-30, temporary business license from Joan Ray requesting approval for TBL for fireworks stand was approved. 25631 I-30 fencing, McDonald Fencing requesting approval for the new fencing on site was approved. 2312 Bishop Road, site plan addition. Year-On Builders requesting approval for a new building addition was approved with granted administrative waiver on the one facade of new addition. Was approved fencing around the site as proposed in the meeting contingent upon review of commercial fencing permit. Marketplace 2 subdivision, phase 3, lot 17R, 18R, 22R site plans. Garnett Engineering requesting site plan approval was approved contingent upon replat approval by Planning Commission and facades provided for building permit. Creekside Edition Phase 2 replat. Garnett Engineering requesting approval for a replat to fix a wording error on the plat which was approved. Seven Brew Coffee, 2202 Reynolds Road, going for a sign permit from Springfield Signs, requesting sign permit with approval, and it was approved. Practical Wellness Clinic, 205 Progress Way, Suite 100, sign permit from L Graphics, requesting a sign permit approval. Staff approved that. They also approved E.V. Brooks's 3507 Marketplace Suite 100 sign permit from L Graphics. Also approved was Splash Car Wash at 107 Bryant Avenue, Arkansas Sign and Neon. These next three will be sign permits that were all approved. They are Empire Vape and Tobacco at 319 Bryant Avenue by Doug Blanford. Gassie's Fuel Station at 6101 Highway 5 by Drew Files. And Edward Jones, Arkansas Sign and Neon at 2305 Springfield Road. Hill Valley Estates by Hope Consulting requesting approval for PUD zoning plan. Project was previously named Legacy Woods PUD. Recommended approval based on completed application requirements. 1710 Shoal Road rezoning RE to R1. William Kalkbrenner requesting approval for rezoning from RE to R1. Recommended approval based on completed application requirements. 3927 Spring Hill Road, rezoning R2 to R1S by Tim Lemons, requesting approval for rezoning from R2 to R1S, recommended approval based on completed application requirements. 307 Southwest 4th Street, conditional use permit by Bill Gray, requesting approval of a CUP for additional square footage of accessory structure, recommended approval based on completed application requirements. 2806 Hurricane Lake Road, 2-lot subdivision by Hope Consulting, requesting approval for the 2 lots, recommended approval. Spring Hill Retail, Commercial Center, Spring Hill and Highway 5. Philip Lewis Engineering, requesting approval for commercial subdivision plat waiver and building multi-use trail along the Spring Hill Road frontage and site plan. Recommended approval of site plan and waiver. Approved site plan contingent upon updated plat and engineering review of drainage plan. And last but not least, Marketplace 2 subdivision phase 3, lot 17, 18, and 22 by Garnett Engineering, requesting approval for replat and recommended approval.
Thank you, Andrea.
Great job.
Thank you.
That's a long report. That's a good report. Tonight we do have 4 items on the public hearing, and we're going to open the public hearing. We will allow our,
Who is that?
allow our, Colton, our planning director, will present the items to the commission. And commissioners, just give you the format of the public hearing. We'll question Colton on any items we need some clarification on. And then we will open it up to the applicant to answer any questions. Let the public come and ask questions of the developer, and then the applicant will be able to rebut any of the questions that we couldn't answer or he wants to add any other comments to, and then we'll call for a vote. So we will begin with Hill Valley Estates PUD on Highway 5. It's you, Cody.
All right, yes, so this actually came through DRC as Legacy Woods PUD. They changed the name to Hill Valley, but it's the same project. This is located over on Highway 5 near Midland Road, kind of across from Midland there. The request is to approve a PUD zoning plan for the rezoning of the property from a C2 RE to a PUD instead. The proposed PUD zoning plan is for a subdivision containing 75 lots. The plan includes open space areas with trails, sidewalks connecting the streets, as well as a clubhouse area with a gym and pool and playground for the residents there. Proposal is to build duplexes on the lots and for them all to be owned and maintained by the developer. As I stated, the current zoning is mostly C2 with a little bit of RE there. It does meet the comprehensive growth plan. And just to kind of give a little background on this as well, or I guess insight into the process for a PUD, since we don't do them very often. So once the zoning plan is approved or comes up for approval, then it'll actually go to City Council for approval, and then the developer is required to put together a preliminary plat, which will come back through the process and come to Planning Commission. Then they'll be able to build out the improvements like they normally do with a regular subdivision between preliminary and final plat. But instead of coming back through for final plat, it actually goes to DRC for approval of that final development plan. The recommendations to approve based on the completed application and meeting the requirements for a public hearing.
Jonathan.
Good evening, Jonathan Hope with Hope Consulting, representing the applicant. As you can see, this is, we received a lot of input from the developer owner on this about what he wanted this to look like, what he wanted included. We have pickleball courts, a kids playground, the walking trails. It's 18 acres. We have almost 4 acres of green space. And I think we put together something we're really happy about, really excited about on this property. We've sent out all the notifications, completed applications. Happy to answer any questions you all might have about the project.
What's the larger structure beside the pickle courts?
So we have like a 2,400 square foot approximately building there that has, we'll have like a fitness center, and then just to the south of it, kind of a yellowy orange color, that's the playground. And then the big structure is probably the pool area you're seeing.
Oh, that's the
Right.
Okay.
I had a question on what that pop-out is in the far bottom corner where it's popped out green.
Yes, so
It had some-
we're putting like a drive-through there where you can stop and get your mail, because everybody has to do these community mailboxes
yeah.
now.
Mhm.
So that'll allow them to get off the main road part, get their mail, and then there's some walking trails behind it.
Jonathan, how do we get 1.5 vehicles per unit?
Oh, that's just an estimate I used.
Well, nobody has a half.
Well, just on average.
I mean, a man and woman, that's 2 cars right there.
Trick questions.
Just wondering,
Yes, sir.
how many cars is that gonna be there? Let's use 2
One's a
per unit.
Yeah, that would be, so we've got 75 lots, so 150 units, 300.
Per day, coming in and out.
Right. Yes, and there's 2 entrances there.
So I have 2 questions.
Yes, sir.
So my first question is, do we take into the effect of the Highway 5 improvements from RDOT? And if I'm not mistaken, at Midland Road, there was supposed to be a single like there that the Highway Department's putting in, according to the
Yes.
public hearing.
You're correct, yes. And so we've shaded out the area based on the most recent RDOT maps we got a few weeks ago.
Mhm.
And so we're proposing to dedicate that, and then we sent our CAD files to Barber and Boltery, I think, are both working on this,
Right.
and gave them our design, because they had a lot of individual little driveways in addition to the expectation of having the stoplight and a more bigger drive on our side.
Right.
They said that they would incorporate our
Okay.
input, or our design into their,
So is your interest gonna be where the stoplight is?
no, sir, so we've got ours separated in a different location. We wanted to do 2 different access points, so we've separated it on both sides of the property.
So neither one of them gonna have the stoplight
Right.
access?
Correct.
And these gonna all be duplexes?
Yes, sir, that's correct. And everything's gonna be maintained by the developer.
What happens after it's developed?
He will own it.
We have,
He's gonna rent them.
He's gonna release it. Release it.
do the property owner association has to be done? Bill of assurance, any of that? Bill of assurance is required.
It'll be in the bill of assurance that as long as the developer owns a certain percentage, that he'll be responsible for maintaining them. And I would probably put a POA in existence, just at some point if they're ever sold.
Right. Nothing stays the same.
So that access road there, is that the same road that the mini storage on the service road will be using?
No, sir, so they would have completely separate access. They would not be utilizing the access to the south.
Cody, can you shoot us a Google Earth deal, or what do you use?
GIS map.
This subdivision won't even connect to the building that's currently there at all.
Correct. So the building that's there, that's kind of, it's got the green roof, its access will come from the south in the future after this is developed. The storage facility that's being built is going to have a driveway along the west property line specifically for that building.
And where's this development? Colton, could you highlight how far down to the left it goes on Highway 5?
Yes, so if you see my mouse, it goes right here, that's the edge of the property, there on the west side. And then it continues on up,
Is
all the
that,
way to the edge of the existing subdivision.
is that the Zeal Church right there on the
Yeah.
left border?
Yes, right
Okay.
here.
All right,
That used to be First Southern's location, isn't it?
yeah, down there,
The, that green building was.
yeah, okay.
Any other questions?
Any questions for John?
I don't pretend to be a traffic engineer, but there's probably some logic applied to where that entrance is located and why it's not at a stoplight. Could you provide?
Are you talking about our access points?
Yeah, I mean,
Well, honestly, we did not know about the stoplight, but even so, we incorporated that under our plan. But the, being able to pull out, I think if you're going right, going to the north entrance works. If you're going to the right, the south entrance works. You're just going to be getting in queue for the stop sign or the stoplight, or you're going to be going around it. I mean, it's really, there's enough distance there. You're looking at 300 feet or so from that intersection on the north and probably 800 from the intersection on the south to the stoplight. So we're not really in close proximity as far as pulling out.
okay, 50 or 60 foot lots.
Those are,
Average 60.
I think they're 60-ish.
So there's,
But some of those right there in that area are really wide because we have a sewer force main coming from the south, so we've widened some of those out pretty wide.
okay, so 300 foot, that won't be a problem. I don't think you have any stacking at the light. I think it'll be possible to go left
Right.
300 feet.
Now, how many lanes you gonna have going out, left, right, and coming in?
We're just showing a typical subdivision, which would just be 2 lanes, like a local road.
Is it gonna be a gated community?
I don't think so.
With public streets, I don't think.
Past that.
Well, I mean-
They're public streets, correct? Yeah, with public streets, I don't think we can.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna open it up to the public. We'll try to hear everybody. It's not a super big crowd. Limited to a couple of minutes per comment, so we're wide open. If there's someone here to talk for, against, or ask any questions, this is similar to any typical subdivision development. I know PUD scares everybody. I got a lot of calls, apartments, things like that. But PUD is a zoning classification that we use that typically means smaller lots. So, we have different classifications, but in the PUD, you also open up to green space and amenities and different things that a developer can put in. So, anybody in the audience that wants to come up and just come to the podium, and right up here, for the record, because it's all transcribed into notes, we need you to say your name and address and write it so they can do that.
All right. My name is Joyce Kuzer, and I live at 2805 Barbara Court in the East Ridge Division. Give me a minute to write my name here. Can't do 2 things at once.
We won't count that against you, man.
Good.
I've already eaten, so it doesn't matter.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah.
Me too.
We're gonna be here till 10.
I bought my house almost 8 years ago. I moved here from the Dallas, Texas area. And ever since not every year, but ever since I bought that house, every time we get our Arkansas monsoon season, I get some very serious flooding in my backyard. It has never gotten up high enough to come into my house, but it's come up beyond my back patio. So, that's a big concern for me. And in talking to the gentleman from Hope Consulting, he had told me that there's very stringent drainage issues, stormwater drainage issues that the city, requires when something like this is done, which makes me feel better.
Yes, ma'am. When your subdivision was developed, it was either prior to or real close to no stormwater plans being submitted. I don't even know that y'all have stormwater detention in your subdivision. I don't see a pond on the map. And so, a lot of times what we find, and he's correct, Mr. Hope, our stormwater is a lot more stringent today than it was in the past. And a lot of times when these areas are developed, it actually helps the subdivisions around it because they retain a lot of that water that's just releasing in certain areas right now. And they reroute it, so.
In our cul-de-sac, and I think this is true in all those cul-de-sacs out there are no drainage
There's no drainage.
within the cul-de-sac. It's all on Natalie.
Also, just so you'll understand, tonight it's important what you said, but it is a zoning hearing about the type of use he's going to do. If he gets this approved, he will come back through the planning commission with all of his stormwater plans, and he'll have to adhere to the stormwater ordinances and his actual plat approval. So tonight is about the use and the number of dwellings and the size of the lots and all of it.
Okay.
But it has to do with stormwater also.
Yeah,
All right?
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Let's just, yes, ma'am. And again, your name and address and sign the book.
Okay, hi.
Hi.
My name is Tania. I stay in the subdivisions Miss Joyce at East Ridge. My house backs up to where they're going to be building this. So my concern is, well, first, I'm against it. Gotten used to it being open, don't want any more traffic, but I know that growth is a good thing. But I'm concerned about, are they gonna clear off all the trees? Will the property owners, I'm not too sure where my property ends, so I probably would need to get that surveyed. But will they be responsible for all of that, or how far are they coming in? I'm not too sure how that works.
Typically, and I'll let Jonathan answer this one, he comes back up, but typically they'll clean to their property line. They will survey it, and it would be rare that they get off of their property. And this type of development, you know, they will remove all the trees because they'll grade it and have to shape it for their stormwater to run in the certain locations. You know, as part of the requirement of this type of development, they'll have to plant landscaping and shrubbery and other trees in other locations. But, you know, they will be responsible for clearing all their trees. Shouldn't get on your property, and if they do, they got a problem.
Yeah.
But that doesn't involve us, that's between you and them.
Right. Another question, well, it may be at a later meeting. Is there a plan for like a separation of the two?
Like a green space.
Yeah.
Yeah, or anything.
Or fence.
Or fence, anything.
Do you have a fence now?
I do.
That'll be a question Jonathan can answer when he comes back up. We'll make sure he answers that.
Yeah.
Whether or not there's a green space or any.
You're
My
backing
house
up.
was built when the fence, so I don't even know, if the fence is accurate, I don't know the steps for that.
They'll know.
That's the-
Yeah.
In their engineering and survey.
Yeah.
Typically, you're residential, backing up to residential.
Yeah.
So in the world of development, they get to do about the same thing you do. So you have a rear setback.
Mhm.
So their rear setback will be the same as your rear setback, or similar for this type of zone.
Mhm.
Where you get into screening requirements is, let's say it's zone commercial right now,
Mhm.
and he was gonna do a commercial development, like metal buildings or some type of a restaurant, then that's where you would have to have a deeper setback and plant trees and do all that kind of thing. But in our world, it seems like if you're a residential home, there's nothing wrong with looking at another residential home behind you. I know you like looking at the trees and the grass, but I mean, it is zone where he can do some type of residential homes right now.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? Next, is anybody in, we'll get you moving this way, and yes ma'am. Try to make sure we hear everyone.
Good afternoon, my name is Tonisha Farmer. I live at 2800 Lynn Court. When I look out my patio, I see the metal building. I think is what he's gonna do, the storage or whatever. My questions are, will I lose land?
No, ma'am.
And does he plan to maybe put a fence?
Well, if
where-
you back up, if you're looking at the metal building, that's, let's see, you should be part of the other development,
Mhm.
which is the self-storage development.
Right.
Am I correct there, Jonathan? And that would involve, we had a public hearing when he rezoned that
Mhm.
several months ago, and that would involve some screening. He's not gonna take any of your property. They
Okay.
can't. I mean, the city can, but they can't, the developer. But it would involve some screening with that plan and fencing between you and there. So there are requirements. That's gonna stay commercially zoned,
Okay.
which is what it was when he purchased it.
Should I do something or as like fencing, or will it be on him?
I mean, if you back up to his commercial development, he has a requirement to fence and to screen. And whatever he's gonna do there was approved at a previous planning commission. Jonathan, I'm gonna put you on the spot on that one, so try to remember what was required there. But you don't back up to where you see the metal building right now, correct?
Yes, sir.
There's, depends on if you're on the front or the side, isn't it 50 and 75 foot setback, Colton?
Yes.
I think that part was a 50 right there.
Which one of the houses are yours?
45 side.
Can you point it out?
75
Oh.
rear.
Zoom in and stuff.
But part of that is also,
Right here. This is me.
Oh, okay.
I think that was the side.
yeah, I don't know
Right
if they're
there.
doing anything with that piece of property. though.
Right.
Yes.
So that's
That
a
was,
different piece of property.
that property, yeah, he's right. The self-storage was from the building to the interstate, from there south to the interstate. That building is staying the same right now. It's on its own lot, sitting there. So until he adds on or changes anything, it'll probably remain like it is.
Okay.
If you don't like looking at that building, you can put a fence up.
Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
But that property is not part of this public hearing for rezone.
Well, I only received the letter.
I
didn't
understand.
receive the letter for the
Yeah.
partial.
Correct.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else in the audience speak for, against, question this development? This is a public hearing. They're applying for a rezone, and if there's anyone that wants to ask a question, speak on behalf or against it, now's the time. All right. It's going to be my last call. I'm going to let Mr. Hope come up and try to answer the questions that were posed, and come on, Jonathan. And then any other new questions from the commission?
Okay, so Ms. Joyce, your concerns were mainly regarding drainage, and as they stated, we have an extremely stringent requirements that we're put through to make sure that we slow the water before it goes off-site. So if you see on our drawing, I think you said you're on the third or fourth cul-de-sac down. Our street that's running north-south, along that side will capture the water in the streets. The lots will be graded for most of that water to go to the streets, and then it'll be piped to those green areas where we have ponds. So instead of just immediately running to the low spot off property, we're going to be piping it to those locations where it'll be slowly released onto that subdivision, which would decrease the flooding. So we will have to address that. Ms. Marshall, questions about the buffer, the tree line. As Lance said, with these lots, we will almost 100% take out all these trees. If it's possible, in some of the green spaces, maybe an existing tree or something, we would be able to salvage, but for the most part, everything will be removed. To the south, the commercial development, I think it has a 75-foot building setback and then a 55-foot buffer where we were going to try to keep all the existing vegetation because it was really thick. And that was Ms. Farmer. But you won't lose any property. The developer he has had it already surveyed. If there's an existing fence there now, that will probably stay. If there's not a fence will likely be put up. So new fences in areas with no fence, existing fences will likely stay, and no new fence will be put up. I think that was everything.
Well, let me make it clear. There are some of those areas that you see on an aerial that people have actually encroached onto this property. I don't know which lots those are, but if they think that's their property, then they may lose some property. Because there's some of them mowing over on to this. If you look, I looked on an aerial, it looks like there's areas where they come over, but I don't think that's this farmer's area. It's mostly by the lake.
Yeah, right.
All right, any other questions?
Jonathan, how many phases is it going to take to get it built out properly?
2 phases?
Yeah.
Has the clubhouse and everything be the first phase or the second phase?
The amenities in the first or the second phase?
Haven't decided yet.
Good answer.
Jonathan, where's the next nearest duplex located in this part of the city?
There's a development that was approved across.
Yeah, existing or?
Existing. and then the other one, future.
Next to Dollar General across Highway 5 behind it is one.
Yep.
And then we approved one next to Bivens. It was Bivens Mobile Home Park where all the,
Yeah, the brownfield there, yeah. I figured that one, but, okay.
Walter, what was your question?
Where's the next nearest
development duplex.
duplex?
Okay.
Basically, is it keeping in the spirit of the neighborhood question? So. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Mr. Hope?
Appreciate you all.
Okay, we
Thank you.
held our public hearing. We will, any questions for Colton? We will have a roll call vote.
Ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Irwin,
Yes.
Staton,
Yes.
Johnson,
Abstain.
Speed,
Yes.
Edwards,
Yes.
Burgess,
Yes.
Hooten,
Yes.
Penfield.
Yes. All right, it did pass the public hearing. It will go to city council for zoning approval. And then we will start, passes through there, the plating approval process. So the next item on our public hearing, 1710 Shoal Road, is a rezoning from RE to R1. Y'all are welcome to stay if you're here for that, or you can go home and eat. So Colton, let us know what's happening on Shoal Road.
Yeah. So yes, this is a rezoning from RE to R1. The property currently has an older existing duplex on the lot. So they're changing the zoning, and that would bring the duplex into a conforming status with our zoning code. And then also allow the applicant in the future, if they wanted to take it and tear it down, or if it got destroyed, to rebuild that duplex there, under that zoning. The rezoning does align with our comprehensive growth plan. There is other zoning in that area that is zoned R1 as well, other subdivisions. Give me just a second, I'll pull up what this property is for you. So this is over off of Prickett Road. Here is Shoal, and that property is right here. 1.5 acres.
1.5?
I think so, roughly.
Yeah.
1.3.
Now, is that, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Only the other thing I was going to say was that it's a recommended approval based on the completed application in the application process for public hearing.
Our hopeful was to put a road, is it farther south than that?
Further east.
With no connection from,
Yeah, it'll go behind
it would go
Middleton.
this way.
Yeah,
okay,
that's one of the Parkway, Chief Avenue extension.
right, thank you.
Could you zoom in more to that property? So it has an existing duplex. It's in a legacy classification. Moving it into R1 puts it in the correct current classification.
That's correct.
Okay. Could you go in just a little more? I got old eyes.
Yeah, I missed the screen over here.
I know that's right.
Hopefully soon
older
we'll have another
people.
one over there.
Us older people.
Placement.
Right.
Yeah.
If you click on it, does it give us property lines? Okay, that's bigger than I thought. Okay.
I drove over there today. There are quite a few larger homes around there. I was a little surprised by that because I thought it was a lot of zoning for the R1, but just from what I saw, it was not as many as I expected.
Large homes.
Yes, on larger lots, like just on the sides of it.
Any other questions of Colton? Who's representing
Yes, William Kalkbrenner.
Yes, sir. You can approach the podium.
Yes, sir.
They have some.
Yes.
Yeah,
This is my brother Matthew Kalkbrenner.
we got the cock renters, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, any questions for these guys, you own it and the developer, or you the
Correct.
engineer? Okay.
Yes, sir. Owner contractor.
So the plan right now is just rezone to get it conforming,
That's correct.
any future desires?
That's right. We went to rent it out as a duplex, and in reading our current zoning and status, got concerned because it doesn't really speak to duplex construction where R1 does. So just figured I'd engage, start the process and get us properly zoned. Originally, we were on septic only some years ago when I'm assuming when the subdivisions to the south were put in, they ran sanitary up to our property. So now we're on the city sanitary lines, and so it seems like the appropriate zone, and figured we'd get it formally corrected. So kind of as Colton said, if in the future anything were to happen, we'd be able to rebuild in kind.
Yeah, and it does affect your title insurance. I mean, you start getting into all kinds of requirements now if you're doing a use that doesn't conform with the zoning.
It's nice of them to come in before they do anything, instead of saying, oh, we didn't know that.
Right.
Well, a lot of your insurance, you can't get insurance if you don't meet zoning. So, I mean, there's some issues without it doing it. But, so it's just a rezone right now and just exists.
That's correct.
You realize if you do anything in the future, building anything else, you would have to come back through
100%.
another process.
Absolutely.
Okay. Any questions of the applicant? All right, we're going to open it up for any public comments. It is a public hearing. Anybody in the public that wants to speak for or against or question anything that's going on here? I'm going to give 2 minutes, but I'm going to give ample time for somebody to come forward if anyone's in the audience. Okay, seeing none, I don't know that you need to rebut anything, but I'll give you the opportunity if you want to, but any other questions of Colton? Okay, we'll have a roll call vote.
Staton,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Edwards,
Yes.
Burgess,
Yes.
Speed,
Yes.
Irwin,
Yes.
Hooten,
Yes.
Penfield.
Yes. Okay, it did pass. Again, in the rezoning, it will go to the city council. Probably advise you to be there in case there's any questions asked of the council when they approve it. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Item 3 on our public hearing tonight, 3927 Spring Hill Road, rezoning from R2 to an R1S, which is a smaller single-family lot. Tim Lemons is here to present, but we're going to let Colton speak first.
Yeah, we get this,
This is the 5 acres, correct?
yes, that is correct. Let me get a map up real quick for you. So this property, you said it was 5 acres, roughly. That's right off of Spring Hill Road, just north of Hurricane Gardens. They're requesting to rezone from R2 to an R1S. The applicant's wanting to rezone the property in order to do a small subdivision of single-family homes. Once the rezoning is approved, the applicant will have to design and submit the preliminary subdivision plan, plat plans to go through with that preliminary plat process. This requested zoning does align with our comprehensive growth plan. There is, just to the north, it shares a property that is zoned R1. And then just a little bit further up Spring Hill Road, there's actually a pretty identical subdivision that was done not too long ago, rezoned R1S, that has the single-family homes along one side of the road, kind of meandering through.
Is that the one by the mini store?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
Robert Mosier's, you remember that one?
I recall.
Tesla built it out.
Yeah.
It's similar to this.
So like the other ones, if it's rezoned, if the rezoning is approved by Planning Commission, it goes before City Council for that approval of the change in zoning by ordinance. And then it is recommended approval just based on that completed application and meeting the public hearing requirements. I can pull it up a map view of that as well. If you give me just a second. So that piece of property is located right here.
We'll get to who's here for this one later in the crowd, but this is a little different than the first two. This one is for single family zoning.
That's correct.
The others were duplex zoning. This is R1S, which specifies single family. So, all right,
I
any
understand,
questions? Go for it.
I understand this is just, this is a zoning
Zoning here.
decision, but does the applicant realize that there's a lot of water in the area?
I think when we get him,
Can you come up?
when we get him up, we'll get there. I just want to make, any other questions of Colton?
Colton, what is, I have one, what is Hurricane Garden zone? Is that a PUD?
It's a PUD, yes.
But they're similar size.
Similar size lots, yes. But yeah, it came through as a PUD.
Okay, Mr. Lemons, we're going to let you come to the podium. Take some questions.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the Planning Commission. It's been about 20 years since I've been before the Bryant Planning Commission. I don't believe I see anybody that looks familiar, so.
I was here.
Were you here?
I'm sure Lance.
Sorry, I'm only 9
20
years
years ago, we both looked alike.
He's been here since Moses, so come on.
He's ancient.
He carried the tablets down Mount Ararat, I get that. My name again is Tim Lemons, Lemons Engineering, I represent this project. And what we have here is 5 acres. That is a very unusual piece of property. We have a pretty good, the reason that, and I brought that layout so you would see, kind of give justification for why we're here tonight. But as you can tell, at Spring Hill Road, we have a pretty good vertical curve. To the north, it peaks out and falls the other direction. For that reason, we are bringing the road as far south as we possibly can. We are looking at 18 lots, but we want to keep everything as safe as possible, bring the driveway down on that south property line. As far as drainage, yes, we are very aware that there is some drainage issues in the area, and our goal is to catch all the water and take it down to the west end of the property where we have our common area, and that's where we will have our stormwater detention. But very unusual. I've been developing property, helping developers for many years, and don't want to take my age, but I've been doing it for a long time, and it's very unusual that you have a road with lots just on one side. We like to, develop property and you have lots on both sides, because that way you help your cost out per lot. But this one just will not allow that. We looked at doing a PUD and putting a road down the middle or somewhere in the middle, and the lots just would be too small, even if we kept it as a private drive. So we're going to make it a public street, do the best we can to get our yield to where we can make this thing fly. And the little curvature, as you can see on my sketch, where we're coming from the south and curving up to the north of the north property line, and that is done for safety concerns more than anything else.
Colton, can you put this up? I can tell people in the audience are trying to see what he's saying.
Yeah, I don't have a digital copy of that.
Okay.
But, I can pull up that plat.
If anybody wants to come up and look at it, they can.
So are you aware, have you seen the water that comes off of there and is coming into the back of these homes and patios?
I have heard that it is an issue.
Is
I
there-
have not seen it, but I have heard.
We have a video. We have a video of it.
Hurricane Gardens?
Yes,
Yeah, Chapman,
yes.
and Lexington, Hurricane.
Have you done a study where you know you can get this water?
Oh, I can find a way to get the
And-
water there. We haven't done any design on this as of yet. That comes in later, but the concept plan does kind of show what we're planning on trying to get to. I understand that there's going to be quite a bit of grading change that's going to have to occur. If I could approach the screen over here, I might could help out.
Sure.
Of course, the road, as we're showing, it comes in here and then curves and comes into the north side. That's going to catch some of the water that is coming off of this area up here. The top of the hill is up here. So our road is going to be the first line of defense that will bring water down to where our detention area is. Then we plan on putting some type of drainage system here on the south line to pick this up. So I feel like we're going to greatly help the people in Hurricane Gardens.
So by right, you're a R2. You're requesting an R1S. What's the difference in the lots if you just develop? two?
We would lose, we would go from 18 down to 14 lots. And that's pretty substantial and the
I
job
get
is
it.
small.
But I mean, there'd still be 14 lots.
There'd still be 14 lots, yes.
So what are your options for drainage across the south side of the,
Well,
mean, what
of
can you
course, we
do?
will have to do quite a bit of grading, as you can see, but if you look, there does appear to be enough fall. Correctly, we're looking at an elevation here of about 368, and down here, we're at 360 that goes down further, so I feel like we can get some kind of swell or something in here to take that water to the west end.
okay, so,
But we haven't done any design yet, of course.
yeah, I understand.
You know, I didn't want to spend my client's money without us getting past this step.
You've got a 20-foot setback in the back, so you're 20 foot from the edge of where it drops off. I don't know, does it drop off right on the property line, or do you?
Some of it falls pretty fast, yes.
I mean, just
Well,
straight down to the
some places
retaining
it's
wall?
not, But there, yes, we did find a retaining wall out there. The retaining wall appears to be set inside the property a few feet on Hurricane Gardens, but it's not far. I mean,
For those that haven't been out there, his land, there's a retaining wall against his land,
Yeah.
all the way down. I don't know if you've driven by.
So will there be another retaining wall on the upper, the north side of this subdivision?
we're hoping that we do not have to put one in. This area here is multifamily in here, and there's duplexes and triplexes in here, and there's some pretty substantial yard back here. We're hoping that yes, we'll have to do some excavation in here, but it's going to be a tricky grading plan, but we're hoping that we don't have to put a retaining wall. But it is possible. Everything's on the table at this point.
Above your property, is that not Benton city limits?
Yes.
It is.
Yes.
Regis, is that what it's called?
So that retaining wall, if you used it, would be another option to retain water from flowing to the
Coming
south,
through.
or at least
Potentially.
divert it to a retention zone.
Potentially, yes.
Okay. 'Cause it's pretty significant. I mean, you've got a bad deck stacked against you there with the water, so.
Yeah, I'm not sure of the property to the north. I haven't spent a lot of time on it, just to drive through it and look at what was up there. I didn't see any type of stormwater retention or detention on that property, so we're pretty much getting the full, or the people actually at Hurricane Gardens are getting the full force of everything to the top of the hill. So we're hoping what we're doing here will be a betterment for everybody.
So if you pipe it all down to the green area, common area, I mean, in order to discharge it from there, won't there have to be an easement, Colton, or?
Somewhere.
So I believe there's a creek that runs along that
That back line?
that back line that goes down next to Hurricane Gardens in between the Bryant and Benton line, city limits line. So I believe that would probably discharge into that creek, kind of like what Hurricane Gardens detention pond does.
Okay.
So in your concept plan here, I see a side road that goes nowhere.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That is so we can meet ISO requirements for fire protection. Halfway down, if it's more than, I believe, 600 feet, you're required to put in some type of hammerhead or some kind of emergency turnaround. And that's what that's for, is it's a hammerhead.
What kind of detention are you gonna do? Is it gonna be a pond or is it in that common area?
Yes.
Because there seems to be a whole lot of water
Yeah.
coming
I'm
through
concerned
there
about that.
Me too.
on that.
It's going to be interesting.
'Cause I know Hurricane,
Right over in this area.
that area right below it has fallen right. They've had real issues down there at the
I
end.
know.
Big issues. Did they ever get those resolved? I'm not sure. I know when this development came through before, it came through once before
As a duplex
as a duplex. There were a lot of Hurricane Lake questions
Yeah.
at that time.
And it had, the setbacks were like 10 feet. It was very minimal. It was a PUD, so. But we're rezoning from a 14 lot to an 18.
So if we leave it alone, you could build 14.
Still would have to adhere to stormwater.
Right, you'd still have to
It's-
make sure you weren't causing them problems. But if we approve it, you build 18, which is a little more challenging with stormwater.
Maybe a little bit, but when you look at the overall area that is coming down onto our property, truthfully, those 4 lots can easily be accommodated in our detention area. We just got a lot of areas going across this
Is
property.
your time frame to start it as soon as possible?
Next week. No,
During the dry season?
we might could get started this year, but I don't know. We're about to run out of time. Everybody says this is the great building time, and it is, if your plans are approved.
So actually, as an R1S, you're a little larger than the PUD south of it, right, Colton? The lot size?
They're very similar lots, but they are a little bit bigger, and they actually, ones to the south don't have near as much of a, like side setback. I know they're pretty close to the minimum allowed down there.
When they did that, it came in as a PUD, didn't it, Hurricane Gardens?
Mm-hmm.
And they had some minimal setbacks, as
Yes.
I recall, and a little smaller average of their square footage of the lot.
That's correct, yeah. I know just looking at the overall map of that area, you can see the lot dimensions of those houses are really close to the back property lines and side property
There
lines.
was very minimal setback.
Versus an R1S, that has a 20-foot rear setback and I think it's 8-foot side.
So you'll have some of your backyard to help detain what comes.
Exactly.
I mean, I think if it's done right, you can help their problem, but that's just personal.
Did you have a sign out, Tim, of the rezoning?
Yes, there was a sign that was put on the property
Okay.
about three weeks ago.
Okay.
The developers are here as well.
I drove by there today. I
They
didn't
put
see
the
it.
target on my back and tell me to get
Okay.
back on the shot.
Yeah.
We know how it goes.
Where's your sewer at? Are you in this area?
It's,
Or is
we've
that
got
still in
sewer,
the-
I know, along Hurricane Gardens Drive, and there's an easement on the west side. We plan on accessing it through that easement.
Okay.
And one thing I would like to point out, we were talking about Hurricane Gardens Drive. It was done as a PUD, but also the houses are also closer to Hurricane Gardens Drive because they only did a 40-foot right-of-way, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they're private streets.
So it's a
And they're
private street.
gated.
Ours will be a public street with.
Well, we had a little problem with the line, where the line, property line was for a while.
Well, the two property owners didn't, we didn't have a problem, but I think it got resolved.
There was a problem.
Any other questions, Mr. Lemons? All right, we're going to open it up to the public for any
Appreciate
comment.
it. Thank you.
We're going to allow.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, you can come on forward. Again, name, address, if you don't mind printing on the paper.
Put my name first on there. My name is Jack Oak. I moved here from Fort Smith about a year ago and built a house there in Hurricane Gardens. And I had no idea of the drainage issues that was associated with that particular area. I didn't even know what Spring Hill meant, other than the name of the road, okay? And people informed me what was going on. But I have no objections to growth in Bryant, but something has to be done about the storm drainage, and I know you spoke about it earlier. But we live in a neighborhood that houses run between $375,000 to $450,000. We have water runs down our street 365 days. Never stops. Never. And when you open up the back of it, and that foliage comes off there, you're opening a tidal wave on us, an absolute tidal wave. We can show you pictures, we can show you video. It looks like Niagara Falls coming down through there, okay? And regarding the storm pond, or what do you call it, retention pond, now all it is a big, muddy swamp, is all it is. And that's because Hurricane Lake had a problem with our discharge. And he's talking about discharging in the same creek we were discharging in. And that's where we're left at right now.
So you're talking your stormwater pond that services your subdivision.
It's nothing but a swamp, about that deep right now. and it's got grass that tall sticking up in it, okay? And not only that, but we have, when you talk about the walls behind our house, they're 12 foot high. What happens if a child falls off those? Okay? In addition to that, 12 foot high. And they supposedly been, from the builder, a French drain that runs down through there to catch that. It apparently doesn't work. And on top of that, if you look at these two lots right here, it doesn't even have any wall. This don't have any wall at all. The builder had just walked away from our properties.
Which house do you live in?
I live in the one right next to it, right there.
Are you having water coming over your wall?
When we have, no, I'm not. The water comes over down this end, right here mainly. But when we have a big rain, it's like a river. My patio has already buckled up from the house. Our back door is only 35 feet from the wall. Is all it is, 35 feet. We were supposed to have an opportunity to address the city council about a year ago. And I was set to come and talk to the city council. I got called that morning that I was driving down here, said that they didn't have time on the agenda. But somewhere we gotta bite the bullet and do something about the drainage in that area. It's just a must, absolute must. And then on top of it, what you're proposing is gonna dump on top of us even further.
And part of, there is a undeveloped piece of property there.
Yes, I understand
And
that.
that property that was developed, as dense as it is, that drainage isn't working if it's doing what it's doing right now.
It looks like Niagara Falls. We've already had people, we've had 3 different houses have water come from the back of it.
They should have taken into account the water that's coming off the 5 acres north of you, and it should have been some easements, but those houses are close.
Yeah.
We don't have any problem with houses being built. As a neighborhood, I don't think. But we gotta do something about the storm drainage.
Okay, she's reminding me of your time, and I appreciate the comments.
Okay,
A couple of things. Tonight is about changing zoning
I understand that.
from 14 lots to 18 lots is basically the ask. So
I understand that.
whether it gets approved or not approved, in order to develop this, he still has to come back, the engineer, the applicant, the owner, through the process of platting and stormwater approval and all that. So
Is that open to the public?
It is not a public hearing.
it's not where you can talk, but you can keep up on the website. I think it emails you of our meetings if you sign up. And you can listen, you can make telephone calls to the commissioners and give them your concerns. We've heard it tonight, and our city engineer.
It's gonna be a ballot issue.
Our engineer is here, so he's making note of all the comments.
It's gonna be a ballot issue eventually.
But thank you,
Something's got to be done.
thank you for your
Thank you.
comments.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the audience that wishes to talk? Come on up.
So, I'm
Name,
Stacy Baker.
name and address.
Stacy Baker, and I live at 2527 Hurricane Gardens Drive. And so I...
Will you show us, if you
Yes,
don't mind?
and I don't back up to the property.
Okay,
I'm here in this corner lot here.
okay.
And so I came as, I mean, obviously I don't like my neighbors being unhappy living there, but I have been listening to concerns they were having, and I had actually sent the video over today, just so you
I'm the one
guys
that
kind of have
sent
an
to a few
idea.
of you, I didn't get it to everybody.
And we are under the impression, and we are under the understanding that this is just a zoning thing for tonight. But then I also was informed that when they did come and present the actual plans, that it wouldn't be public. And I guess,
It's open to the public, there's just no opportunity for public comments.
and maybe we were kind of hoping that we would have an opportunity to see and be, I guess, know exactly what was going to happen. And it was interesting to see where he was talking about putting the streets. I think we all got kind of helped out, like you guys from my neighborhood could see where he was, you know, putting the streets in there or whatever. So I think that,
You can have this.
so, I mean, and I guess, I mean, is there anything wrong with this?
No.
I mean,
Because, just to answer, because it's a zoning, a lot of the developers, the engineers don't bring the plans. They may be working on them. We appreciate Mr. Lemons bringing them to present tonight. That's a whole different process.
Yeah.
And they are put up before each DRC meeting. They have to be turned in ahead of time. I didn't mean to interrupt you. We'll give you
No,
more
it's
time.
fine, because you're kind of enlightening us. I don't think
They have-
anyone would understand.
They have to be submitted prior to the meeting. They're loaded to our website. There's an agenda that the public can get to. You can see them. You can call Colton, you can call the mayor, you can call, there's 3 council members in the audience. They come to all of our planning commission meetings. Our numbers are on the website, or they were last time I looked, so you're welcome to email or call any of us. I mean, the video got distributed through Rick to some of us.
I didn't get it to everybody, but if you want to see it, I can show it to you.
And, so basically, you have the opportunity to see it and ask questions. It's just the process of plat approvals is not a public hearing, which means you can sit there, you can listen, you can ask questions. You just can't participate in that part of the meeting.
And so when they do decide, when they do bring that before y'all, the actual plans that they're gonna work on, then that's something that we can go to the website
Yes,
and we can look at those. That
It's
way
not,
we can get an idea.
it's not a public notification, so you won't get a letter, but just to let you know too, the process there, before it ever comes to us, it's gonna have to go to the engineer, the fire department,
City engineer.
the city street department, the city engineer. It's gonna go through a lot of hoops for them to prove that they're not gonna cause more water. Hopefully fix the problem, but, and then it will come to us in the
As a
meeting.
package. Now, you can sign up. He said you won't get notified. You don't get the mail or like the rezone. But you can sign up on our website and you will get every email about every agenda from the city council, the parks, the planning commission. And you click on a link and all the plans are right there.
Well, that's helpful. I think that the people in my
I
community are.
don't, citybryant.com and go to the planning tab, and I think there's an opportunity to click there.
And I think too, that the people in the neighborhood tonight really wanted to make sure, or, and bring to light the drainage issues and really how bad they are. When I say they're bad, and I mean, I have known more. Like, it's even just down the street.
Tell them what you told me earlier, that the kids were playing in the water.
Yeah, so and I have a video of it. I did find that video, but I didn't send that. That I was looking out my front door and my kids had went up and got their sled and were like kayaking down our street because the water, when it comes down that street, it's amazing. It's truly amazing.
most of
I
this
was just
water-
so thankful that my house is up and I'm not.
We'll make sure Mr. Lemons gets that video.
And we just wanted to express our concern because even when they just start moving any of that dirt, it's going to, instead of there just being water coming over that, we're afraid there's going to be a bunch of mud. And I know that everyone has to take into consideration when they're building that. And I know that's part of, regulations that they do that. But I think everyone wanted to, make sure.
We're not rushing you. You've gone to
No.
5 minutes, so.
Okay, I'm signing my name.
We're all talking about the same thing right now. Anybody else and thank you for your comments. Anyone else in the audience wants to speak for or against? If you're going to come up and talk about drainage, I want you to say ditto or something and give us but anyone? Yes, ma'am. Come on up.
We'll definitely be watching.
Thank you.
My name is Diane. I'm the manager at St. Regis. I would just like to approach you and tell you that there is a lot of water in our area, and I've seen the flow. I walk my dog around, so I've really seen the flow. I've looked at that house where the house is up on the road. I would like to know where the road is going to be from St. Regis. I understand that there will be a road where will
The entrance would be to the south.
Okay. Oh, okay, bring it down there.
So it wouldn't connect over.
Right, will they level that so that there's already a hill? It's just down. So will they level that Where will that water
I
go?
think a lot of it they don't know yet because they haven't done all their engineering studies. And so this is subject to change, even the entryway, once they do that engineering study. It's
Okay.
just a kind of a
Sure.
preliminary ideal.
Something where the flow of the traffic could be better, especially during the school areas, times. It's, you're gonna wait 30 or 40 minutes, while the school is, while they're letting the buses off and getting off onto Spring Hill. It's, really a nightmare right now. So, I need to sign.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thanks for your comments. And anyone else in the audience want to speak for, against, questions? If so, please approach. Ask a couple more times. Is there anyone out there that would like to make any other comments? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Lemons, we'll have opportunity for any rebuttal comments and then talk
Yes,
through
sir.
your options.
One clarification point, I looked at my plan again. I said if we were looking at 14 lots, we probably would be closer to 15 if we were to keep it R1. And I mean, that doesn't sound like much, but we're looking at a net increase of 3 lots as opposed to 4. So, as far as the street location, that's actually done not only from the safety standpoint, but also the backyards will go back against the backyards of the existing Hurricane Gardens, and we did that because we felt like that the homeowners would like to back up to Hurricane Gardens with their yards. As far as traffic, yes, I understand traffic is that way. I live in Cabot, and Cabot doesn't have the infrastructure that you guys have, and traffic is it's a mess wherever you go. But again, where you're looking at a difference of just really 3 lots, so you're only looking at about 6 cars potentially difference between what we could have and what we're asking for. And last but not least, I want to talk just a minute about the drainage. Again, it does sound like that, you know, basically they have confirmed what I've already been told, that there are some drainage issues in the area. The last thing we want to do is to make it worse. In fact, I feel like with just the implementation of some very simple infrastructure, I think we can make it a lot better for everybody in the neighborhood. And give us a chance, we're going to try to do that. We're going to do that whether it's 14 or 15 or 18 lots,
right.
But, you know. But anyway, I appreciate the opportunity to come here today and to meet with you, and good to see you again, I guess. And thank you so much for your time.
Any questions of Mr. Lemons?
I think my biggest concern is, I know this property pretty well, is that can you get this drainage done with 8? I think you'll come better chance of getting it done with 15 lots, because that's an extra 150 or so feet that you're not going to have rooftops and blacktop or slab or porches or driveways. And so you would have a better opportunity with fewer lots, to be able to do that. I know that's not what you want to hear, but
I appreciate your
opinion. You could do a little larger lots and a little bigger houses to offset that cost.
We could, I mean, the square footage of the rooftops may be the same if they're bigger lots.
Right.
And so therefore you're not gaining anything by
Not a whole
going
lot.
with the larger lots.
But that was my concern, is how are you going to get a lot of work, get that all?
I'm sure that when we come up with our plan, that it will be well vetted. I mean, your drainage, I've looked at your drainage ordinance, it is very comprehensive. And probably one of the most comprehensive ones I've seen in Central Arkansas. And I do work all over the state. I would put you in the same category as Rogers and Bentonville, which are notorious for their drainage ordinances. So you've got a good thing going. And I'm quite sure that your city engineer will vet it and let me know if there's any issues that he has, and we'll address them accordingly.
One other comment that was talked about, I just want you to address. We talked about the property leaving, the water leaving the property. And there were some comments about the creek it's going into, and that Hurricane Lake doesn't allow it to come down through there anymore, and some issues. I mean, how do you deal with that?
This is the first I've heard of that, but we're going to have to address that whether it's 14 or 15 or 18 lots.
Yeah, I mean, if it's developed as 3 lots, you have to address it.
I have actually
mean, that's.
I've actually given expert testimony in a court of law about drainage before, and I do know that drainage is considered public enemy number one, basically. You have to deal with it, so what you do is you try to lessen the impact as much as you can. Water's only going to go one way.
Where will your detention area overflow to? Do you?
Again.
Oh, you're not there yet?
We're not there yet. That's something we're
We're
going to have to.
talking about along the rear property line.
Yeah, I mean, it is along the rear property line, but I can't give you an exact location, but I'll tell you what, Colton, if you could pull up that contour map, I can get you real close.
Well, Coach got to work tonight.
Yeah. This right here is the low point of the property right there. Now, this lot here is not developed, but this is the low point of the property. And it looks like to me that there's some type of drainage easement that we can follow. We can follow down to get into where it needs to go.
Will it go into their detention pond on Hurricane Garden?
I'll have to look and see, I don't know. But our goal is though, once we compute what the flow is into their detention pond right now, before we develop, then our post-development has to be at that point or less. So we have to bring it down to that point.
Hey, Colton, I hate to switch gears again, but isn't Hurricane Gardens, I'm sorry, they're a PUD. Don't they have like a special improvement district that's funded by the property owners to maintain that pond? And
I'm not sure how that's set up. I know Hurricane Gardens came through before I started at the city.
I think we were
It's been a
doing,
while since I've looked.
we were doing funding mechanisms at that point.
Because they had trouble with the water coming in that time.
Yeah. I
That
mean,
just
there's enough
changes.
rooftops there that, I mean, there ought to be something internally happening. But anyway, that's a different subject. Any other questions of Mr. Lemon? And again, it's a rezoning hearing from 14, 15 lots to 18 lots. Still have to come through, vet out all the stormwater with Kelly.
Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Any other direction?
Lance, if we vote yes on this and it goes through and he comes back and he can't prove that he can handle 18 and handle the water, he can't build 18, can he?
I mean, if, let's say, through the process of approving a plat, there's more green space needed, there's more area for drainage and stormwater needed, and you can build lesser lots.
Right,
I mean,
right.
you can have less
But we're
density.
approving more right now
That's right.
if we do it.
If it was to pass,
Financial feasible to do less. Right.
but I mean, that would be, I mean, it'd just be based on engineering comments if, you know.
But the mitigation of the water has to be done. If it means losing a couple of houses, then they'll have to do that.
They have to solve the water.
They have to solve the problem.
Or they can't do it.
Yeah, okay, that helps me.
So any other questions about the vote? And this would just be a zoning change from one class to another class. Basically, there's some setback changes in that. They go from 25 to 20 front.
Yes. And then the lot widths go down just a little bit. It's from a 75-foot lot width to a 60.
But still more ground than is in the Hurricane Gardens development as far as, they have very minimal setbacks.
Yes, I was just pulling that up to look. I know it looks like the lot widths are 70.
Sides are 5, I think. Really? And the backs were 10. It's a PUD.
Oh, that's
10? 10 on the back?
Yeah, they had, because it's a PUD.
Yeah.
6 years ago. It all came through too.
Yes, it's a 5-foot side and then a 10-foot rear building setback and utility and drainage easement.
He's got 20. So it takes you 5 minutes to mow that? Is that what you're saying?
With the weed.
Electric.
Depends on how much water.
All right.
Oh, me.
Everybody knows the drill, so we'll have a roll call vote.
Okay. Edwards?
No.
Johnson?
No.
Irwin?
No.
Burgess?
No.
Speed?
No.
Stanton,
No.
Hooten,
No.
Enfield.
Oh, and you're supposed to tell your reason, I think it's evident with everybody, but because I think you're gonna need the ground regardless of the zoning to make up the difference. It is a major problem there. I think you get back to the same place. So it did not pass. We will move on to the next item. So 307 Southwest 4th Street, a conditional use permit. Bill Gray requesting approval of a CUP for additional square footage of accessory structure. He's been here before. You're gonna build on that whole lot before it's all.
I'm working on it. But this time I just want to go into.
Yeah. All right. Oh, well, we're gonna let Colton present. You can stay standing and let him.
Yeah, so this is just a approval for a conditional use permit for additional square footage for a lean-to to be added to the side of his shop. You probably remember him coming through last year to ask for the additional square footage on the actual shop building. And this is just additional to add that covered lean-to the side of the shop. I believe the new lean-to addition, 660 square foot total. This is recommended approval just based on the completed application and meeting those public hearing requirements.
All right.
Question. What's his allotment based on his home size?
250.
Yeah, it's very small.
Got a real small house on there.
You came through once before.
The
am I
shop
right?
is bigger
Yeah.
than his house
Yeah,
already.
there's another bay on the shop.
Right.
How big's the house?
About 1,000 square foot.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And so 250 is the allotment, 660 is what he's going to. What's he at now?
About 1,800 on my garage, my 4-bay shop.
Sorry.
But the lean-to, you're not actually doing any walls or anything.
This is an open space.
Just a little rough.
Sorry.
Just a roof.
I'm trying to reconcile 1,800 and 660, but
Sorry, just a second.
that's fine. I've already eaten dinner.
All right. Did he answer your question?
No, he's working on it.
Working on it.
What's the
Trying to find it. The size of the existing shop with the
new bay?
with the new bay that came
It's
in
1860.
1860.
With the new bay,
With the new bay.
Numbers
From
wrong.
previous.
With the new bay.
but not with the lean-to.
Not really.
Oh, so
So 1880
the lean-to's another 660.
Correct.
Okay, so 1860 plus 660.
It'd be open, you know.
Yeah, okay.
25, 22, 1,100 square foot home.
Oh, no.
On this public hearing, did he have to mail anything out or just put signs? Just put signs.
Signage and the
Advertising.
newspaper ad.
Yeah.
Well, that's the standard for conditional use permit.
Can you pull up the property, please?
Yep.
We're still in Colton's town.
You did have to sign that. I saw that.
That's
Yeah, so-
I think I remember this.
Doing pretty good with the add-on, but then increased inventory a little bit.
It's this lot right here.
Can you make it a little bigger for us old folks?
I'll tell you what, talking about old folks, you know what old is. Does he, Joe? No, he doesn't.
Can you make it bigger for Jim, I mean?
Joe's pretty close, though.
Kelly's gonna get on us if we keep putting roofs.
So what are you adding on to? Which part? Your front? I mean, which direction? Right side?
Yeah.
Can you point to it?
Go right over there to it.
Yep.
Okay.
I want to put it on this side. There's a blue car that needs to go under it. That's why I want to do the lean-to.
Have you heard any neighbors call you, contact you?
No, they haven't. The neighbor on the left, we're good friends, and doesn't have any problem with it.
The left, on this, your left, my left, that side right there.
Yeah, Joe
Yeah,
Dixie.
okay.
He's got a big shop.
Also, I haven't received any phone calls about sign either. So.
Me either.
All right, so it's just a roof, no sides.
Correct.
Any other questions? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, that's it.
Now let's see if there's any public comment. There's a couple of guys out, you can probably stay there unless the guy in the rear is here for this, which I don't know. But any public comment for or against? Anybody? Colton, you've not had any calls? You've not heard from anybody? Any other questions for Colton? Or Mr. Gray? All right, we'll do a roll call vote.
Okay. Staton,
Yes.
Edwards. Yeah. Irwin,
Yes.
Speed,
Yes.
Burgess,
That's a long way to go. I'm gonna say no.
Johnson,
Yes.
Hooten,
Yes.
Penfield.
Yes, but next one you'll have to get Kelly to approve the stormwater stuff.
Yeah.
All right,
My dad's got big shots too. I know that goes.
you're approved, so thank you for your time. We're gonna move forward. We will close the public hearing with a motion.
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor signify aye. Aye. All right, we are out of our public hearing. We have no old business. You're free to go. You can stay and watch. It's fun.
Okay. Oh, do you?
We have,
His shop's bigger than his house too, by double.
we have no old business. Our new business tonight starts with item 25, 2806 Hurricane Lake Road, a two-lot subdivision. Hope Consulting requesting approval for the two-lot subdivision. Colton.
Yeah, so this one is pretty straightforward. It's just a two-lot subdivision plat for a resident. The purpose of the split is for another family member to build a new single-family residence on that new lot that is built. Like other subdivisions that we've done that are similar to this one, where it's just a simple split, the city staff requested a developer give additional right-of-way for the future road building if the city was to come through and widen either Hurricane Lake Road or Vice Road, but not require the half-street improvements at this time. So the zoning is RM with that property split. It would still meet the requirements, be well above the minimum lot size requirements. There is no really additional comments there. The recommendation for DRC and from planning is to approve.
John, approach the
Yes, as Colton says, it's pretty simple. I think the only outstanding thing we had was we needed septic approval on the new lot, because this is not going to be city sewer. And we received that back, and I emailed that to Colton about 20 minutes ago, so he has that in his inbox. But besides that, it's about 2 acres, just splitting it and dedicating that right away.
It meets all the criteria. You put the easements around it and everything.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Any questions?
No.
All right. We'll have a roll call vote.
Okay. Irwin,
Yes.
Burgess,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Staton,
Yes.
Edwards,
Yes.
Speed,
Yes.
Hooten,
Yes.
Penfield.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. It's approved. Next item, 26 retail, Spring Hill Retail Commercial Center, Spring Hill Highway 5, Philip Lewis Engineering requesting approval for a commercial subdivision plat and a waiver on building a multi-use trailer along the Spring Hill Road frontage. This is not the north side of Spring Hill, it's at I-30 Spring Hill. It's behind Merchants and Farmers Bank, between there and I-30 Service Road.
Oh, that lot right there that's right across the
Yeah, there's a site plan that was approved at DRC for a nice building. It needs to be platted into 2 lots. It was presented by the bank as a 2-lot development at the time, but it was never platted. surveyed. And so this is just the plat, which puts it into 2 lots.
Yes, that's correct. It's pretty standard, easy, 2-lot subdivision plat for commercial development. Like Lance said, it did come through a long time ago when the bank actually came through, but it was never came all the way to the planning commission for that lot, or 2-lot subdivision there. So this is that actual subdivision. It goes along with a site plan that was approved at DRC just about a week and a half ago. Along with that's a request for the waiver on to build the section of trail that's proposed along the Spring Hill frontage. Reason that it's the section of trail between the Spring Hill Road and the overpass, or it goes from Spring Hill Road over the overpass to Sheep Road. It's not really a high precedence trail right now. I know the majority of that's in RDOT right away. So we'd have to get approval through them, and it'd be a city project to build, and that's not high on the city's priority to make that trail connection at this time. I know there's more that we're kind of focused on, and then we also had the trail meeting the other night to kind of look at our other standards. So,
and if it gets built from Highway 5 to the overpass, it's going to be RDOT anyway.
But as far as the plat goes, it's recommended from DRC and planning to approve the plat.
Any questions? Council members are here, there's 3. I mean, any problem with the request for the trail? Okay. All right. I guess we can vote them separate or together. I mean,
Either way y'all want to do it. So.
let's go separate. I mean, the plat first, and then do the request. So we have a roll call vote on the plat, which has an approved site plan with it.
Ready?
Yes.
Edwards. Yes. Patton.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Irwin.
Yes.
Speed.
Yes.
Burgess.
Yes.
Hooten.
Yes.
Penfield.
Yes. Oh, abstain. I'm sorry.
For real?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, abstain, not yes.
Make up
That's probably. You caught me off guard.
Oops, sorry.
All right, so we did pass. And then we'll entertain a roll call vote to
For the
a waiver of the trail in that little area, the back half of the lot.
There is a sidewalk there
Yeah.
currently.
And that was built by RDOT when they did the road widening. So.
Yeah.
And there'll be right of way there for the trail. It's just,
Right.
Not making them make it.
They would have to widen the bridge to get the trail.
That's okay.
Yeah, it'd be nice. I remember when that bridge went in.
Well,
it's maybe another 50 years before we get it. All right, roll call vote.
Lance will
All
be
right.
here.
Johnson.
Yes.
Burgess.
Yes.
Speed.
Yes.
Irwin.
Yes.
Edwards. Yes. Stanton.
Yes.
Penfield.
Abstain.
Hooten.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I think that guy got turned down the night he was here 20 years ago too. I'm kidding. All right, so both passed, and we will move on to 27. Marketplace subdivision, phase 3, replats lots 17, 18, and 22. Garnett Engineering requesting approval for the replat. Come on up.
I didn't recognize him.
I'm glad Vernon's not here tonight. George is here. George is in the house tonight. You don't have to sign in.
Yeah, you know who I am.
You're on the agenda.
This is a pretty easy one too. This is a replat for lot 17, 18, and 22 of the Marketplace Phase 3 subdivision.
Is this the ones on 5?
It abuts Highway 5. When it came through originally, they brought it to us for approval with the road, or the
dedication.
Yeah, the dedication of the road right away already on there, but they're going in and actually adjusting that so it's included in those lots now.
Which is smart, so that RDOT can pay them for it instead of.
And it's recommended approval by PRC and the Planning Commission.
We kind of got a little bit, we don't be proactive about it, but the problem is it's more proposed right away. It wasn't really a final thing, so we didn't know technically, we thought it was more final, but it wasn't. And it's like, well, they might not take very much, who knows what they're going to take. So,
And they may take
I'm
more.
still in for too far on that one.
Any questions of George? Yeah, you're George.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Wooden, yeah.
Like a wooden chair.
Yeah.
For legendary Coach John Wooden.
All right, we'll do a roll call vote.
Edwards? Yes. Staton?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Irwin?
Yes.
Burgess?
Yes.
Speed?
Yes.
Hooten?
Yes.
Penfield?
Yes. Thanks, George. You stay around for the fun part of the meeting now.
He's already finished the fun part.
We'll sign plats and get them recorded.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our last item on the agenda, Planning Commission bylaw revisions. I think Colton's going to give us kind of a synopsis of the comments and changes. We're going to go dissect it and come back next month for some action.
That's correct. Yeah, I think that's probably the best route to go is to just kind of give you all a brief overview of everything. There's a bunch of areas in here where I just kind of went in and changed some of the verbiage, kind of cleaned it up, make it more easily readable. There's a lot of old language that was in there, old sheet language. One of the big sections I changed was for the secretary duties and advisory members. I took out both of those sections and rebuilt it under the title of ex officio and that's lines up with the community engagement committee's bylaws as well as the parks committee bylaws. And really it says the exact same things there. It's just worked a little bit better, kind of combines the duties of the secretary and then also the staff liaison. So there's just one person there.
You said community engagement
Are
and
you
what?
getting rid of me?
Parks.
Parks.
No, we're not getting rid of you, Tracy.
Well, that's what it sounded like.
I know
You know,
that
how
section
am I
was written
getting
before, there was actually, I think, at one time there was a secretary that was appointed and done separate
Yeah,
from the actual
right.
planning staff here. So, and that also had some old language in there that gave the planning commission authority to hire outside advisors and stuff like that if
Yeah,
needed.
I thought that
So that was prior to a city engineer.
Yes, yeah. So that, now that we have all that in place, I feel like it's kind of redundant at this point in time. Then there's some other just minor changes in here for rewording the order of agendas and how items are roll call vote. I'm trying to think of anything else.
Even though it gave us that authority, we went and tried to get it one time and we didn't have a budget, so they wouldn't let us hire anybody, by the way.
I guess we're probably the lowest paid people here, aren't we?
Yeah, we hadn't had a raise in 20 years.
Since when did that stop anybody?
Anyway.
There's also a few spots on there where I highlighted different verbiage and have questions on it. So if y'all had comments or other answers to those questions and wanted to get back to me on them, that'd be great. Just some things that asking if we wanted to change it or how we want to reword some of those. But if y'all would be able to look at those and kind of get those comments back to me, I'll get those updates reflected and I can send out a better version to you guys. And I can also send out a digital version of this that I gave you, so you have that as well.
Do you mind doing that?
Yeah, I can do that.
Any questions?
Yes, sure can.
Yeah. Any questions of Colton's?
I haven't been absent that much, but who decides what is a legitimate absence other than health?
That is, I think it's council technically, according to the original committee and commission paperwork or ordinance. Council's supposed to determine if that's...
So when I call into you or text or email you, I'll say, you know, I've been to the doctor, or I'll say I'm on vacation and can't do this. So that's recorded somewhere, the reason.
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct.
I want to be sure.
I know in the past that hasn't been kept up with very well.
Yeah.
So, just, you know, we'll probably end up creating a spreadsheet document or something that kind of keeps track of that. pretty
So
well.
the preference is to email the office.
Yes, yeah, if you could email it, that's probably the best way to, be able for us to record it. and be able to
But you
look
can
at
zoom
that.
in, right? They have
I don't think
capability?
so.
No?
Doesn't count.
We did that one year.
We passed something that was
During COVID.
temporary during COVID, but I don't know that it was a permanent fix.
Yeah, I'll have to check with Ashley on that, and I know there's something else in there too, I was gonna check with her on. I think there was some kind of law passed with the, broadcasting of a meeting or recording of the meeting to make public, and I wanna say there was, something was passed there, and that's why we do all the Zoom, or we do the recordings to YouTube. I'm double checking with Ashley on that.
Does city council, can you do Zoom? They will allow that?
There
Now,
was something in the law that,
I think it was state law at the time it was passed that allowed commissions to do that, and committees, during that time of COVID.
but now you can zoom in, your vote just doesn't.
you can't participate, basically.
Well, mine did that one time, but anyway.
You're special.
I haven't had time to read the update here, but in regards to the vote and proxy, consulting with an attorney, whether you should abstain, was that taken out or left in?
I left it in there, all I did was change it a little bit. Let's see, what was that? Yeah, all I said was, so it currently reads that if someone's uncertain on whether there's a conflict of interest for an item, you know, to consult an attorney, and I just changed it to consult the city attorney. Because we have Ashley on staff and she can give you a quick answer on that. If you have any
Because that happened with me at another time, and I called the office and was told to go ahead and vote in that particular case. And I did not go further than that. So I guess I should have.
Well, in most cases, if you have a question on that, I think one of the staff members will talk to Ashley as well to confirm.
Colton, is there any change, like, let's say for instance, I mean, we have to have 5 yes votes to pass. But if we have several people absent, it becomes where you have to have unanimous. Like if you have 3 people absent, you have to have a unanimous vote to get something passed, which can affect developers and, you know, they've done all this public hearing notification and everything, and they come in and there's only 5 here. I've seen it.
If you're not here, it's a no vote anyway, right?
If you're not here, it's a no vote. So I mean, if we had 3 absent, you still have to have unanimous at that point. You don't have to have 5 out of 8, you have to have 5 out of 5.
That actually happened at a few meetings.
That has.
With sign things that have gone on that we don't have a problem with
Right.
anymore.
And
That did happen.
Here's my question. Let's say there was only 5 of us here tonight, and Lance or I abstained tonight from each of us a different thing. What would happen at that point?
So it would be voted down. Wouldn't have the amount of votes to pass.
You have to have 5 votes, and an abstain would be a no vote.
The majority.
Abstain would be a no.
That's correct.
And I added
It's
that
in there in
wordage in there.
But there's no changes to any of that.
No, there's nothing right now. You know, that's something that we could look at. I know it talks about the simple majority. Is needed for any kind of procedural actions, such as like the minutes and stuff like that. But if it is a actual item y'all are voting on, as far as like a public hearing item or something like that, it has to have the majority.
I know somebody got turned down one time, and the applicant was really confused on, well, I got a majority. You know, I got 4 out of 5, but absence.
But you had 3 people absent.
Right.
Yeah. We've seen it.
Okay, I was just curious. I would have dug through it and answered it myself, but I figured you're right there.
Yeah, I haven't changed any of that yet, but you know, that's something that.
Can that be changed, or is that a thing that has to go? should it be
I
changed?
could look into it.
I mean, maybe that's something we should
I
talk
think
about.
that piece can be changed, could be wrong. The state law dictates the planning commission, so I would verify that.
Yeah, I know, it does say under our standards of procedures that, except as otherwise be set forth in these bylaws, parliamentary procedure shall be as prescribed in the latest edition of Robert's Rules of Order revised. Procedural provisions of these bylaws may be suspended with consent of 3/4 of the commissioners, members present. So,
Is that pretty much the same everywhere? All planning commissions operate that same way?
I believe so, yeah. I think most of them follow the Robert's Rules of Order.
And a tie is a loss, because that would be 4. There's no tiebreakers.
No, there's
I
no.
know in some commissions, you have only the commissioners vote and the chairman is a tiebreaker.
Right.
Ours is not set up that way.
We've not really had too many of that happen.
I think Ben was like that.
We don't have.
So is our county planning board.
Is it?
It's that way. So I mean, think about that, talk about it, send some comments to Colt. I mean, there's no driving desire that we approve it next month, but we're just moving it in a direction to get a new set of bylaws adopted.
Yeah, and if there's, something specific you want me to look more into as far as those procedures go, send it on to me. I'll take a look more in depth at it, kind of give you a better answer to report back.
When is a recusal versus abstain? What's the
I'll
difference
tell you one I'm
between
recused
those?
on is whenever I personally had I owned the property and I was, for these townhomes, and I was getting it replatted.
Yeah.
I stepped in the other room. Tonight, the one that I abstained from on those duplexes, they asked for me to consult, even though we haven't signed a contract, on design. And so I may have a
You had some
financial,
involvement.
I may have a financial benefit from it passing, so I abstained. But if it was actually my property,
Then you would
then I've
step
stepped out. That's been mine. Is that, Lance, is that about?
Yeah, I mean, there's a definite recusal if you're the developer, if you're the business owner, you're anything, you shouldn't be involved in any of it at all. My reason is partially I'm a director on the bank and they own that property.
Yeah.
So
But you got it listed too.
that piece behind it, it's already done.
I mean, you had listed.
But I abstained because of some involvement with the bank.
So what has to be a trigger for not even being in the room?
That's a recusal.
So in every recusal, you'd have to do that? Be out of the room?
That's what it means.
I think if you make a decision to recuse yourself, you have no involvement.
Whatsoever.
Don't hear the discussion or anything.
Okay.
I'll tell you where I had a recusal as an example is when there's something going on with around my personal property.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think Truitt recused himself because he had something going on adjacent to his property. I mean, if you're deep into it from the aspect of a your personal owned property, you definitely want to recuse.
Yeah.
And then from there, the way some city attorneys have explained it to me, it's a personal matter with some potential consultation with an attorney, whether it be the city attorney or your attorney, about abstaining.
You might abstain if it's a church issue. I did one time when it was a church issue because I was on the board of the church. But I didn't recuse myself, but I just abstained from it.
Well, in the last one for Raymar, I voted because I was retired. But I do attend the church. So I was in
I attend
conflict.
too. We're not involved in that.
But I went ahead and voted at advice.
As long as you're not involved, like where you were.
Yeah, I wasn't on the committee to develop or anything.
I think if it's more of a direct involvement or direct, financial benefit to you.
Like if you were gonna make money if it passed or
Right.
something like that.
But if it's if it's something that you're not completely involved in, that's where you can kind of.
Well, one of the occasions out there, I was involved and I did abstain.
I know Ashley can probably give you a better definition on that, on when to do it and when not to. And I can kind of get back to that.
And there's fine lines, and we all go to church somewhere, potentially, are members of different clubs, different organizations. Heck, I know everybody in town, it seems like, and have done business with. I mean, you can't refuse all of them, and you have to internally decide if it's something you need to abstain on. And it'll catch up to you.
I was trying to say, you'll know if you make a
It's a small
mistake.
town.
Okay, any other comments on our bylaws? Homework.
Yes, and I was just wondering about, Amy and I recently went through the planning process, the training and all that, and talked about how we're not to talk amongst each other, and all those rules and laws. Should that be placed in here? That kind of issue about
I mean, like, we're not-
talking and,
I mean, we're not supposed to text each other and email each other about issues and, things before they come to the meeting and come to vote and things like that. And should that kind of thing be in the bylaws?
We can certainly add that.
okay,
Okay.
Just some of the conduct.
yeah,
Mhm.
basically, yeah, just to kind of cover ourselves.
All right. Anything else you come up with, send Colton's way. We're gonna make them the best bylaws in the state.
Yeah.
There you
There we
go.
go.
Rock solid.
One just small announcement before we close out, if we're done with that announcement. Starting next Monday, Mr. Ted Taylor will be joining us as our new director. So we're excited to see him here and kind of have his input on a lot of this stuff again. He did a great job as engineer, so I think he's going to do a great job too as director. So.
You've done a great job.
Yes.
You have,
Thank you so much.
you just need to grow a beard.
Can't grow a beard, but if I could have, I would have.
I'm glad you're not.
You're staying on, right? You're staying on,
We
right?
got one motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Beat me to it.
The council member is ready to go home.